Happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. This Wednesday, as I said last week, I'm just taking it one day at a time. Truly, truly, one day at a time. More than ever before, and really just allowing myself to be fully present in the day rather than worrying about what will or will not happen tomorrow, because we cannot control the circumstances or conditions that happen outside of ourselves. We can only be present with ourselves in the moment and decide who we're going to be right now, and right now, and right now, and right now, and then carry that into our next moment, because like I've mentioned before, the past no longer exists. There's nothing that we can do to change it. What we can do is heal from any hurts that we have, or the word I'm thinking of is satisfy ourselves in the knowing that we can pick up the pieces and we can work at recovering and we can do this work here, but we can't change anything that has already happened because time travel has not been invented yet. And in terms of the future, we cannot predict the future. No matter how hard we try, no one can predict the future. What we can do is make sure that we're prepared here so that no matter what happens in the future, we're prepared. And when I say here, I'm talking mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and, oh yes, financially. But I'm not going to talk about finances today, so don't worry about it. So someone recently posted something, I can't remember exactly what it was. Oh, it was a poem that a friend of mine posted about sorrow and joy, and how from the greatest sorrow, we find our ability to tap into greater amounts of joy, which is so true. We've talked about this many times before. If you've been following my videos, how we almost need those parts of our lives as well, so that we can be reminded of all the good, so that we can have the opportunity to tap into our strengths, our creativity, our problem-solving capacities, our intelligence, our love, right? We can call ourselves loving, but the only way to know for sure if we're loving is when the opportunity arises. Do we show up in love or not? Right? We can say, oh, I'm so patient. But are you patient here when the opportunity arises? Are you kind here and here when the opportunity arises, right? So those moments that feel like challenges, like contrasts, they can be good for us in terms of allowing us the opportunity to tap into our greater selves and to really exercise those muscles that we've been training spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, and to do that thing that we say or believe ourselves to be capable of, right? So she posted the poem about sorrow and joy, and it reminded me of a story that a woman shared with me when I gave my TED Talk a few years ago. It was called What's Good About This? And I'll share it later on tonight if you haven't already seen it. And it was really about finding the good in everything, seeing it for what it is, allowing ourselves to feel the feels, going through the feels, and then coming out on the other side and being done when we're done with the negativity or the anger or the resentment or the whatever, and coming out on the other side of it with a new perspective, a shift in the way that we perceive it, right? So after the day ended and we had the opportunity to meet for lunch and for at the end of the day, I had a couple people come over to me and share stories, and they were saying, oh my gosh, I have to flip this story, or oh my gosh, I finally was able to see the other side of it, and it doesn't feel like this heavy thing that I'm carrying from my past anymore, which is really the whole point of sharing our stories, right? But this one woman's story has stuck with me for these couple of years because she told me the story of how her house burned down. I mean, burned down to the ground while she and her family were on a vacation. And there was some electrical thing or something, and the house wasn't near the neighbors weren't very close. So it wasn't as if like somebody knew that the house was on fire, and it was burning and burning and burning. And then the windows blew. And I mean, this house burnt to a crisp, right? So she says she gets home after, and she realized that every single thing that they owned, other than the possessions that they had on them, were gone. And she told me, And as she was telling the story, she was smiling and there were like these joyful tears in her eyes. And she told me that when they returned to the pile of dust and ash that was once their home in their entire life, they just stood there and they stared at this pile. And her oldest child started laughing. And she's like, no, you don't understand. Like at first it angered me because like, what are you laughing at? Everything is gone. But she was laughing so genuinely, so hysterically that the woman said, I couldn't help but laugh. And then they all started laughing. So it was her and her 2 kids and her husband. And now everybody is cracking up laughing. And she said, before you knew it, they were like keeled over, hysterical, crying, laughing at this like unfathomable thing. Like everything is gone. And then the oldest daughter walked over to the area, which was her bedroom. And she's like, my bed used to be here. And for some reason, they were all like, wah! Like hilarious. And then the husband goes to the living room area. And he said, I used to hate that lamp. Oh my gosh, I hated that lamp. And the wife's like, me too. I hated that lamp. And they kept the lamp because it was given to them as a gift. And they felt like it would be disrespectful to not keep the lamp. But they all hated this lamp, right? And it didn't match anything in their house. And it did not spark joy. Well, I add that now with my Marie Kondo way of thinking. And it didn't spark joy. And it just like this lamp. So they all started going through the list of all the things that they were glad to be rid of. And then she said that it just kept making them laugh even harder. And soon they began listing all the reasons why this was not just things to get rid of, but why this was a good thing. And then they made a decision for themselves as a family. And they said, okay, we're going to have a fresh start, a chance to do it different. No baggage. The only thing we have is our beautiful vacation clothes, which are items that make us smile. So from now on, we're only going to hold on to the things that make us smile. And they decided to start again, to accumulate less, to be grateful more, to share love often. Because she said, we were on vacation. We had the opportunity to go on a vacation. And our house burned down and we still had the opportunity to rebuild. Because we had, so there was so much good that was still available in their lives. And she said every now and then, she'll have a moment about like baby pictures. But then they just kind of get over it. And they reached out to all the other family members and asked them to share pictures of the babies, of the kids and, them and their wedding pictures, because all that stuff was gone. And they were able to, through their connections, through their community, through their sharing of this really powerful story and how it brought them closer together, bring their whole community together. And she said, even as the kids grew up and they moved on, they still are able to find beauty in the little things in their lives. They still choose to accumulate memories instead of stuff. They're still thankful for life all the time. And even when things get bad, they are still able to find reasons to look for the good, right? And they always know that they don't need things to burn down to the ground in order to have a fresh start. That was the part that stuck with me the most. A lot of times we think that we need things to burn down to the ground in order for us to have a fresh start, and that's not the case. We can fresh start right now. We can see this as an opportunity to find out where we're missing it, where we want more, where we want less, what we want different. Make a commitment to ourselves, to our families, to each other. Don't bring ugly things you don't love into your spaces, right? Metaphorically and literally. And don't wait until things burn down to the ground to start fresh. We have the opportunity all the time. And that can start right now. And now. And you see what I did? I brought it right back to the beginning. All right, so that's all I have for you. I hope you have a great weekend, and start of next week. If you need to chat, I'm here. Put something in the comments below that you once experienced as a tragedy that you were able to flip it. You don't have to go into details unless you want to, but I would really love to just hear some of your stories about moments in your life that you were like, ugh, and then it turned out to be the best thing, or maybe not the best thing, but it worked out in your favor, if you know what I mean. All right, if you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and share it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. What you waiting for? And I'll see you next week. Sending you love and light, y'all. Sending you love and light, love and light, love and light. You got this. We got this. One day at a time, separate but together. What?